everyone. Welcome back to the Jasmine Ortiz Show. I'm here with another wonderful guest to interview today. Today we have Nicole von Logtenberg. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Nicole. Would you mind giving a quick intro of yourself for our audience?
Thank you for having me, Jasmine. My name is Nicole. I am the owner of Naughty Dutch Rentals and Yacht Standard Cleaning. I'm also a single mother, and I live in West Palm Beach, Florida, the sun-shining state for sure. And I'm excited to be here and really share my story with Jasmine and all of the fellow viewers.
Absolutely. So first of all, love another Florida girl. I'm in Miami. And that's actually where I ended up meeting our mutual contact, Romina. So it's great seeing another Florida girly. So tell me a little bit more about your story. So I understand that you started out working on yachts and this grew into a luxury yacht and Airbnb cleaning business. How did that transition kind of happen for you? How did you first get into the world of luxury sailing?
Yeah, small world. So when I was 17, I graduated a year early from high school. I decided I wanted to travel the world, and I got a trade when I was 16. So I became a yoga instructor at age 16, and I wanted that trade so I could be able to travel. Traveled the world solo for a year, and I joined a site called Yoga Trade so I could teach yoga in all of these different locations around the world. From there, I actually met a lot of people in the yachting industry with all of the places that I traveled to. And I was hiking in Gibraltar, and I had met another girl that was a deckhand on a boat, and she inspired me to take action and continue to kind of look into that field because I loved traveling and wanted to experience the world more. So it ended up, I got a job offer in this small island in the Caribbean, Palm Island. And this was in the Grenadines. It was so gorgeous. It was only 1 mile around the whole island. And I was the activities director at the resort there, Palm Island Resort. Yachting came back to me. There was a sailboat that pulled in and they were looking for a crew member. From there, they met me. To be honest, every single position I got was all based on energy and just being a light, bubbly, bright spirit that enjoyed life and looked at every opportunity as a gift. And this was one of those opportunities that led me down the path in my yachting career. So at 18 years old, they flew me to Fort Lauderdale. I did my STCW basic safety training so that I could then go and work on the yacht in the British Virgin Islands. I worked there as a chef at first. So I started, I cooked healthy meals. We did all of these different activities on a sailboat. You're really all trades. You work on deck, you work as a stew, you work as a chef. And you show up in any capacity you can to give the guests the best possible experience that they can have. So from a very young age, I was learning luxury hospitality and what it really took to be able to share that type of experience with a guest and be able to give them a 5-star experience from the moment that they book until the moment that they leave. And then want them to come back for more.
Yeah. Walking into a position with gratitude and really leading with your bubbly energy and personality. Because I feel like I've entered a lot of situations with that same mindset. Of course, you have the skills. Of course, you have the intelligence for the role. But a lot of times people are looking for someone who clicks with the team and clicks with the leadership. And having such a personality that's amenable, that's charismatic, that almost takes you like halfway, at least through the door. So I love that you said that because that's something really relatable to me. Another thing that you said was super interesting is I didn't know this previously, that you kind of have to show up in all these different capacities when you're working on board. I'm sure you learned so many different useful skills through all of that. I mean, being a chef, being in hospitality, how did that desire morph into now your cleaning business for this type of property?
Yeah, well, with everything that I do, owning rental properties, with owning a luxury cleaning business, everything is to yacht standard. So there's no grade below 5 stars. Like that's just something we don't do. And the reason why is that it has put me so far ahead because I know what the guests are expecting when they arrive. I know that they want the best experience for their family, for their crew. We host yacht crew all the time. So giving that extra touch of luxury when a yacht crew comes to stay at one of our rentals literally blows them away because they are working so hard on the boats. They are, grinding. It is a 12 plus hour a day job, 100%. You are constantly on the go. You are constantly thinking of others other than yourself. So we really try to add all these hints into our rentals that enhance the experience for yacht crew that stay, families that stay, or any type of guest that is really staying at our property and making that the extra, I always say like a 10-star experience.
Absolutely. I think there's something so valuable in that because people, especially people who work in hospitality, you understand exactly where they're coming from. They provide this type of service for other people. They deserve to receive it as well. So I'm sure that's something that they really value when they come and stay with you. And same thing for families as well. I mean, they're working so hard to upkeep and support their own family when they're on vacation or on a trip. They deserve the utmost best experience.
Yes, definitely. They truly do. And the cool part about my rentals is that I have always incorporated Yacht Crew in the development of the rental. So as I purchased my first property, turned it in, so I utilized it as my primary home loan. So I could only put 3% down. I made sure I worked on an American flagged vessel so I could qualify for that type of home loan to invest in my first property from a young age at 21. And when I got that property, I actually had Yacht Crew staying at the property, and they helped me put together the whole entire atmosphere, just as, you know, Yacht Crew would enjoy staying at. So like there's a wave on the wall, there's tons of like touches of like what Yacht Crew helped me create, and they got to stay at the place for free, and then they helped me put the place together. So it was just, that property is so close to my heart, and I've incorporated that art of including Yacht Crew in the development of the business every step of the way.
It's fantastic because it goes to show how multifaceted your skill sets are, but how your passion remains central to your experiences. So I've also heard about you being a mom. How has that experience changed or impacted the way that you move forward with business?
Yeah, Jasmine. So that has been the biggest impact on my business. So if it weren't for my daughter, I could see myself still working on yachts. When I found out I was having my daughter, it was the biggest light in my whole entire life, and she's changed everything. But she has given me the biggest amount and zest and drive for life, for experience, and for growth. If it weren't for her, like, I don't think I would be as far along in my career as I am today. I'm 25 years old with 5+ properties, continually growing. And the reason why is all because of her. As soon as I had her, I went from 1 property to +4, and she's 2 years old. And she was that biggest driving force. And she got me. So when I left the yachting industry, I then switched into sales. And I did remote closing, high ticket closing in sales. And I've been very successful with it. And that was the income that drove me to get more and more properties as we went through this process. And Ariella is just like the biggest light in my life and has continued to push me to grow. And for her, always watching what I'm doing, it inspires me to do things ethically, to do things in the right way, to be able to help and treat others right, to treat my team right, and really just show up in the best way as a woman business owner, and more importantly, a single mom really striving to do her best.
Wow, that's such an amazing story. And it's beautiful how you talk about her. Oh my gosh, I love that. She must really admire you, especially with all the interesting situations and settings that I'm sure you've been able to expose her to.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. She's been to 10 countries, Jasmine.
I was actually about to ask, since you've traveled so much for your career and personal life, what have been some of your favorite destinations that you've visited?
So South Africa is like so high on my list. I went there for 3 months when I was solo traveling, actually, and I taught yoga there. And it was so incredible, just like this life-changing experience. And then I went into yachting a year later, and I ended up working with all these South Africans, and they are just the brightest, lightest people, such hard workers. I've enjoyed every single moment. My best friend, she helped me put together my first property in Fort Lauderdale, and she's also South African, also from the yachting industry. So the yachting industry introduced me to every type of person that I needed to be able to incorporate into my business to make my businesses successful. And then it allowed me to give back to the industry that changed my life forever. So me and my daughter, going back to your question, we've traveled to 10 different countries. My father lives in the Netherlands, so we go to visit him once a year at least. And then we travel to all around Europe. We'll do a little family road trip, and embracing her and like bringing her into those atmospheres from such a young age, literally from when she was 2 weeks old, we were traveling. That actually, that was made her so independent. Yeah. She can go into any atmosphere and just be the lightest, brightest, bubbly little girl. She's not shy. She's very like open and excited and just loves new opportunities and new experiences, just like me.
I think it's so important to expose your kids to the type of life that you want to live, because I find a lot of, and of course to no fault of their own, a lot of people struggle initially in the early phases of motherhood with not being able to recenter themselves into the lifestyle that they previously were living or that they wanted to live. And in turn, you're doing a disservice to yourself, to your future, even to your child sometimes, because they're not getting exposed to the same experiences that maybe you would want to expose them to. So I commend you for taking the hard route and traveling with an infant and just making it all work for you and for your family.
Yeah, we truly did. We took every opportunity and we went for it, and exposing her to that has just made her such a bright light. So I'm very grateful we did. She's never been afraid. She's always been like one to be so open-minded and ready to take on anything and be tough. Like I open her to all of the atmospheres. Like when it's raining, we're running outside, we're jumping in puddles. If it's snowing, we're doing snow angels. Like in Florida, it's never snowing, so you have to go to Massachusetts to see that, which we have family there. But we're in the ocean every day here, like we're in the pool, and embracing all those amazing things that life has to offer is really important when raising a child.
Wow, that sounds like such a blessing. I'm so happy for you. So I wanted to talk a little more about the beginning again. So a lot of people have this idea that they want to go far away from home, that they want to travel the world, but what they're struggling with is the concept of how do I get from point A to out my door? How do I get to that place? So what was a hurdle that you had to overcome to decide to solo travel right out of high school, especially being so young?
Yeah. The biggest hurdle was really, well, first of all, being so young, it was convincing my mom. That was the biggest hurdle.
I get that.
And then the second biggest hurdle was definitely the confidence. So from a very young age, I had to develop a lot of confidence and a lot of drive. And I'm very grateful that I was a middle school, elementary school, high school athlete, because that being in athletics, it gave me the drive, it gave me the motivation, it gave me the courage to know that anything was possible. Not just in team sports, but more individualized sports. I was a competitive triathlete, and then as well as did cross country and track, and those things, they gave me that power and mindset that it made me feel like I could do anything and I was unstoppable. And then being good at it and working towards something at such a high level from such a young age, it really gave me that drive, and it made me know that I could do anything and stepping over that hurdle. And for me, when I started my travels, my dad was moving back to the Netherlands. So me and him, we booked a trip on the Queen Mary 2, a boat to cross the ocean.
Wow.
From New York to Southampton, England. And from there, it was a cheaper way to travel. We're like, okay, let's do this. Let's go across the ocean. That's an
adventure. I mean, how many people can say they've done that,
Yeah, exactly. So from there, I booked the cheapest flight to Mallorca, Spain. I had no clue where it was on the map. And I was like, okay, we're going. And it was just about taking that next best step. And I stayed in like hostels and different places where I could meet a ton of people. And it introduced me to so many great friends along my travels, friends that I still, follow on Instagram, follow their story today. And it's just so incredible. Like at that phase of life, meeting them and seeing where they're at now in life, and how us traveling together brought such a strong connection and brought us so close so fast. And when you meet those types of people, it really opens your eyes and educates you in a way that you really can't get in high school. You can't get going to college. Like it culturizes you in a way.
The exposure to other cultures. Exactly. I mean, that's huge. There's a huge issue in this country where not a lot of people are exposed to outside influences, and therefore they demonize them, or they're afraid of other cultures. And I think that's just a level of lack of exposure. I don't think it's necessarily the person's fault, because when you're not exposed to something, even if it's a strange food or a strange practice, it might feel a little intimidating or confusing or scary. But I think it is so important as a young person to get out there and expose yourself to those cultures, whether it's through travel or even through foreign media, through Netflix and other languages, through foreign cuisine, just getting out there and sort of forcing yourself to take it all in, whether it's good, bad, in between. So how did you sustain yourself as you were traveling full time? I know a lot of creators now work in the online influencer space. What was that like when you were doing this? I mean, we're the same age. So like in 2017, 2018.
Yeah. So in 2017, so when I was in high school, I worked like a part-time job at a fitness club and I saved every single penny. So I think I saved up like $5,000 by the time I traveled. And that was my budget for traveling for a whole year. People tell me they go to trip for Europe for 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Even then, that was like maybe not enough.
Yep. I was taking flights for like 17 euros. I was staying in a place for literally 17 euros. I was on Yoga Trade and was finding these like next best places to teach yoga. So I taught yoga in Greece and Italy and Spain. I taught yoga in Morocco and South Africa. I taught yoga in Caribbean. I taught yoga all over the world. Croatia, like in those places actually housed me and fed me. And I mean, I'm not a very high maintenance person, so I'm not needing to go shopping every single place that I'm going. So it really, it just opened my eyes to, and I actually ended up like saving. I didn't even spend the whole $5,000 when I got
my jaw's on the floor. Oh my gosh.
And then
how is that even possible?
I don't even know. I look back at it and I'm like, how did I do that? And yeah, I would take these, like, I would pick the cheapest flight, end up at the destination, experience it. I would walk, I'd take the bus. I would, have my backpack. I would, camp sometimes. We could have a whole nother episode of just the adventures of Nicole solo traveling at 17.
No, I mean, that's amazing. My mom, my grandma's from Spain. So my mom would spend every summer growing up in Granada in southern Spain. So she has her own stories because she even did a foreign exchange year of high school, her junior year. So almost around the same age. She has an entire year where she was just in Spain, roaming around by herself, like meeting people there, making friends. But I mean, the homestay was really just a bed to sleep in. She was out and about, meeting people, and it just sounds so incredible. Mm-hmm. I definitely think that's an experience everyone should have in whatever timeline and format they can have in their lives at some point. I'm waiting for my European adventure in adulthood. I did like 10 countries when I was 14 with a student travel group. It was like an ambassadorship program. We were meeting with government officials. It was very global citizenship oriented. And I love that experience. It definitely opened my eyes up to so many different cultures, but I kind of want to have like the fun 20-something Europe experience now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you definitely will. I mean, like when what I've noticed is every time I set my mind and I have a goal to do something, I'm always able to achieve it. And then it just ends up being the best time of my life because I set that goal. I'm now doing it and now experiencing it fully in the present and just dedicating that time to the act of what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And something else you were talking about before with being so successful in the yachting career so early, that takes so much discipline. So what are some of your goal points for discipline when you're setting your eyes on a new goal?
Yeah. So the most important thing is the crazy thing is everyone's in college, like spending a ton of money normally at age 18, and I ended up working. So my discipline was to be successful because I had no other choice. Like my mom wasn't happy. I wasn't going to college. I'm like, I'm doing this yachting thing. I'm going to make money. So I set that goal. I said, I'm going to be successful in this. So every time that I woke up with a great attitude. Because your attitude is everything. It's how you're going to be successful in whatever career path that you take. So I woke up with a great attitude. I worked as hard as I could. I didn't, sit on my phone or do anything. I would take some time in the evenings to educate myself on real estate investing, which is what my big driver and big passion was. And then I would work toward that goal like 1 hour, 2 hours a day. And then I would dedicate the rest of my time to just being successful and learning the art of yachting because it is a very hard career. Something that you can't just jump into and think you're going to be amazing at. It's like really difficult actually. So because the path that I took in yachting, I was a deckhand and then became a bosun of a 225-foot yacht. So it was a big career and a lot of building. I had to get my 100-ton captain's license. So I had to do education on the side. And I just kept working toward, okay, now I'm going to work toward my captain's license. Okay, now I'm going to work toward really becoming really great at cleaning a boat. Like this is going to be my goal. I'm going to learn all the knots. I'm going to learn all the ties. I'm going to learn how to do it right, so that I can always impress my first officer, and I can always be the person that my first officer calls, and being that person that where they know that they can stick by you. And also like the owner of the yacht. The owner of the yacht, they called me Knickknacks. They said, Knickknacks, I need my goggles. You know where everything is. Like just being that person. And then they'll invest in you.
Go-to person. Yeah.
Exactly. The owner of the yacht, they are the top 1% in the world. And the reason why I joined the yachting industry in the first place is because it would introduce me to people like that who are so successful, more successful than I could at that time ever dream of being. And I can learn from them. So because I took that extra time to really help them and help their experience be the best experience they possibly could be on their vessel, they took the extra time with me and taught me simple things like real estate investing, or what they've done in their business, or like the top 10 tricks of what's made them successful. Like I always ask these like high level questions, and they would share with me. They love to teach and educate and give you that experience. So that the one thing is that I took action on it, right? So you have to be, when you're learning these things from such high level people that have done amazing things for their family and their careers, you need to take action on it. And from the moment that he taught me about real estate investing and buying property, and that's going to be the best asset that allows and continues you to grow in its generational wealth, that's the moment that I started talking to a loan officer to get under contract for my first property. So it's about once you learning, taking action, and actually achieving that.
Wow. I think taking action is the most poignant thing that needs to be taken away from this for listeners, because a lot of times you get into situations or opportunities where you think to yourself, okay, this is a wonderful piece of advice. This is a great opportunity. This door has been opened for me. But are you taking those steps to walk through? Are you taking those steps to do more than just be in the room? For me, being in the room can be half the battle, right? Getting your foot in the door, which you already had done. However, being in the room, meeting the right people, making the right connections, and then using that for your own growth, that's where the discipline comes in. So I think it's incredible, because I've also encountered high-level people in music industry rooms and events and the Latin Grammys, things like that. And most of the time when you meet these really high level individuals, they do want to share their knowledge, because they're not threatened on the same level where someone who's competing for a similar spot might be. If you meet a CEO of a Fortune 500 company and they're willing to give you the time of day, more often than not, they're not against having a coffee chat and explaining their story to you. And I think that's something that's more overlooked with how valuable that is. Just getting in contact with those people, forming close relationships, wherever that relationship might start.
Yeah, exactly. It's so, so important. And you never know what conversation is going to open the door to you. So the most important step is just being friendly, like making friends with everyone, sharing your story, being open, being honest, like listening is so important, because if you can be a good listener, you can always know the right questions to ask. So those are some really, really important things that I've noticed make a big impact and move the needle forward for me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Being a good listener is pivotal, because if you're able to digest what someone has said to you and then ask an intelligent question back, they immediately lock into the conversation more. They realize, okay, what I'm saying is not falling on deaf ears. They want to learn more. They're understanding the concept. Let's go more in depth. It's funny you said I make friends with everyone, because I also feel that way. I feel so similar. I literally was at the airport during a 6-hour delay 2 weeks ago with my partner, and he was just, like on his phone, kind of like trying to distract himself from the horrible delay. And I start chatting to the lady next to me. It turns out she's an executive in the music industry. And I'm like, no way of all the people that I happen to sit next to during this delay that I start chatting with her. But you never know who you're going to meet, especially in cities like West Palm Beach, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, where there's so much capital and so much power constantly circulating.
Yeah, it truly blows me away all the time. And putting yourself in the vicinities that, the types of people that you want to meet are, right? And when you're at, for instance, in West Palm Beach, like the Cove Club or La Marina by all the super yachts, or you're down in Palm Beach in the good restaurants, like those are, the places that people that you want to meet are going to be. And also just being open, being smart, having brains is so important. You'd be blown away, like how happy these people are to speak with somebody who can have like a really deep, good conversation.
Yeah, that's fair. Because a lot of people are attracted for the wrong reasons. So then
Exactly.
they probably find themselves sifting through like who they want to spend time with.
Exactly, 100%. And the thing about a woman who has a good head on her shoulders, who is, striving to build a business, who, maybe is a mother or something of some sorts, like the beautiful thing about it is that you don't need anyone in life, right? You choose who you spend your time with. You choose who you want to be in your vicinity. That is that is so different for people in a world full of like neediness. Like you just like when you have a good head on your shoulders, everything is going to come forward tenfold to you. You're going to meet the right people. You're going to be introduced to the right people. And then you're going to feel confident in yourself and who you are always. And then you're going to set the right example for your children.
Absolutely. Do you ever picture or manifest your ideal life before it happens and then manufacture the steps to get there?
Such a good question. I actually do, because my story is so unique and different. It's really wild because a lot of it was, breaking down to really becoming so independent from at a young age, from being athletic, from going through some childhood challenges, then to traveling the world, then to taking my first steps into the yachting career and becoming the best I could in my yachting career. And then from there, it kind of unfolded to investing in my first property. And that property, it gave me everything that I needed to be able to step out of the yachting career and, be able to start a new career with my daughter and build a business from scratch and let her, grow up seeing me doing that. So.
Yeah, there's something so powerful about seeing your parent become an entrepreneur and a business owner. I also had a similar experience growing up where my dad started a business when I was very young. I was there from the early moments on our dining room table to our garage to an office space to just finding people that were reliable and believed in the vision and wanted to grow. So now as an entrepreneur myself, I definitely have that as an example. So I'm working on a startup for music metadata cataloging. That's something that I've been developing over the past couple of years. It's something that I've heard a lot of interest in, really just kind of putting feelers out right now for investment. But it's super rewarding to have had this example in front of you your entire life, understanding, okay, there's ups and downs. There's really, really difficult moments where you question everything. And then you come back and realize, okay, this is still my path. Maybe we need to redirect. Maybe I need to strategize, but this is the direction that we're going in. So I'm sure your daughter will have that to look back on if she ever decides to pursue entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, being a mother in itself, it's a juggling act, right? But it's taught me to be so efficient, so resourceful, relentless, and you don't have time to waste at all because you have a child that's watching you and learning from you. So you want to set that best example and allow her to really, see you grow and be able to give her the faith that that's possible for her too.
Absolutely. What do you feel the biggest value that you hold right now moving into the next phase of your career?
I believe that the biggest value that I hold is having a portfolio that is constantly growing for me, and it's a tangible asset that I can visualize and see. And that portfolio actually is quite incredibly it is my investment to whatever I want to do, right? This growing for me for the last 5 years has set me in such a great place financially that anything is possible from here. And because of what I've done and because of how I've been able to hold myself, even through all the challenges, the roller coasters, all the ups and downs, because I've kept that good head on my shoulders, it has opened me up to such an opportunity where I literally meet people and they say, I want to invest in you and whatever you're doing. And just having that, head on your shoulders and that future ahead of you, it really opens you to, creating your vision and moving forward in it as fast as possible.
Do you feel is your greatest skill set as well moving forward into the next chapters of your life?
My greatest skill set is definitely leadership, and it always has been leadership. I've always been like the entrepreneur, the visionary, the great mindset, and I've always known how to lead a team. And yachting really taught me that. As a bosun, you're leading a deck team, and you need to learn how to do that in the right way, and how to hold yourself, and how to speak to people, how to make them feel wanted, how to make them feel heard. So having that sense of leadership has allowed me to grow my own mini team in yacht standard cleaning and Naughty Dutch rentals. And I value my team so much. And with that team and having people that believe in what you're doing, that having people that see your vision and having people that know how to manage your vision is so important, because that allows you to step into developing the business as big as you want to grow it.
What keeps you motivated to keep innovating, keep pushing forward? Have you ever struggled with burnout?
So my biggest motivator is my child. As a single mother and an entrepreneur, you don't really have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very much like you're hitting the ground running and you're going, and you're going to do whatever it takes to provide the best life and opportunities for your child. And I think, becoming a young single mother, that has really been a big blessing for me, because I don't think I would be as far ahead in my career if it wasn't for my daughter and her constantly pushing me and striving me to be better and create generational wealth and legacy for her and for her kids' kids and for their kids' kids. So I think that has really been my biggest driving force, is having my child and wanting to create an incredible life for them. The cool thing about having a child and her being, 2 years old, like she's going to be 18 so soon. And it's like, why not just create the best life for her now while I have her like in my lap still with me? And that's kind of like just the push on time and what like doesn't create burnout, because I'm energetic. I'm 25. I have the energy to do it. Like, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep meeting great people. Let's just keep the ball turning and really looking for what's the next best opportunity.
And I also think your experience in athletics at such a high level also correlates with that. When you were talking about how physical it is to be a boat hand, especially with when you were starting out with the cleaning, with being a chef, with then learning the ropes of everything else. I mean, that's a very physically tasking job.
It is very physically tasking. It's so funny, like, because there's a lot of like heavy things that you have to lift on the boat, right?
Yeah.
So they'd all be like, knick-knacks got it, knick-knacks got it. Because I was a strong woman. Like, I got anything. No worries, guys. I don't need your help. We've got this.
That's fantastic. And how was it getting your captain's license? Is that something that you pursued completely? And like, what was the process? Because I know what it's like a bit to get like a private pilot's license, the hours and everything that it entails. Is it kind of similar?
Yeah. It's about a year of education, and then you need 365 days on water experience. So because the yacht that I was working on was traveling all around the world, we were always at anchor or on the water. So I was able to accumulate my sea time pretty fast, and I was able to actually do the education portion all online while I was traveling and working on the yacht. And I have fantastic. My 100 ton license, so I can drive a boat up to 100 tons. Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, I need you down here in Miami. Let's go out this weekend.
Well, that's the other thing, Jasmine. Like, I've never been hesitant on investing in things that bring more quality to my life. So like, I got a Freedom Boat Club membership, like just things so I can be on the water more, enjoying my lifestyle even more, and giving my daughter that luxury. Like, we didn't have a boat when I was growing up or anything. My dad was an offshore lobsterman. My mom was in medical writing. So that's like something that I just want my child. Like, it's like something that just brings such essence, so much fun to their lifestyle. So I think that the biggest part, like, especially as you grow financially, is investing in the things that bring you more joy and give you more time with your children and your friends and your family. And those are like my biggest pieces of advice as you do grow financially.
Yeah, I absolutely believe in that. I mean, moving to South Florida, I'm not sure how long you've lived in South Florida. I've lived here about 7 years. So I love the lifestyle down here. It's so different from where I grew up. I grew up in the Northeast. And
Jasmine, what part?
Did you grow up? I grew up in Pennsylvania. You grew up in Massachusetts?
Okay. Boston, yeah. Just south of Boston, South Shore, Marshfield, Massachusetts.
When I heard lobster, I knew it had to be New England.
It had to be New England.
I've gone to the Lobster Festival up in Maine. It's
Yep.
amazing.
So much fun.
But yeah, so I grew up like an hour between Philly and New York City.
Okay.
So a bit more inland, next to a river, still very nature, water, but
Yeah.
not as much as the beaches and the real outdoor adventure community that we have here in Florida. So I love everything about being on the water. I love the beach. I love boating. I think it's such a valuable asset to your life, especially because you know how to do everything on a boat. That's fantastic. So cool.
It truly
I mean,
is.
it makes renting a boat so much easier for you.
Definitely, 100%. And that's like also the thing, Jasmine, of like having that boat membership. So some things I do sometimes for the guest is like taking them out on the boat for an excursion or some fun things that like just go the extra mile for your guests.
Yeah.
Because you never know what that 5-star review is going to open up the door to be able to create a new booking or a new more income for your business. Like go above and beyond. Like if you're going out and you connect with a great guest and they seem like a really good person, like invite them on a cool experience or teach them or give them tips of where to go out to eat, book a reservation for them, like simple things that like
another level of hospitality.
Exactly.
So is that something you partner with the boating membership or private yacht companies with your cleaning company as well?
So the whole reason I started Yacht Standard Cleaning is because I had rental properties and had always had an incredible cleaning team. And like we were always getting 5-star cleanings, like everything was always done right. And little do you know, like it's Nicole, the one that comes from the yachting industry that only expects 10-star hospitality. So it's something that I created because there was a necessity for my current business, Naughty Dutch Rentals, and it would aid that business. And then it would also be able to aid other people's businesses. So that was the whole idea behind starting Yacht Standard Cleaning and how it's become very successful because we've held that standard through.
Wow.
Yeah.
What have been some of the most empowering or prominent moments of your career so far?
So the most empowering moments are always when I literally close on a property. That's like literally like me in my full on like femininity, like yes, another woman homeowner, like continuing to grow and flourish. And then after furnishing the property, like really bringing it to life and then creating the experience, getting it as a new listing. Those are all like really empowering moments that like, it's like, wow, that was like another really big step that I just created and changed my life. I think another really empowering moment was like really just being able to shift careers so fast and so easily. When I left yachting, like when I had a daughter, there's no going back to yachting. Like you're always traveling, you're always, experiencing. So that was just
and
kind
she
of
couldn't live with you on the boat, right?
She couldn't live with me on the boat.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of a chapter closed, right? But it was just a new door that opened because it got me into doing sales. My first sales position that I did in the first month, I was the top performer in the whole entire team. So just in sales world, like that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
And that was just something that like totally lit me up because it was just this whole new art and skill that I now have that I can teach my daughter, that I can apply to my business, that I can also be able to really make and impact other people's lives by selling them on this new opportunity that can completely change their lives. I sold real estate investing coaching. So I was actually selling something that I truly believed in. And when you sell something that you truly believe in, it's such an easy sale because you're literally living what their dream is and you're giving them that faith that that's possible for them and their family.
Would you cater that information or education towards different people's budgets and financial status, or would it sort of just be a one-size-fit-all parameter?
So normally it was like a one-size-fit-all parameter in like whatever their specific coaching program was. But you teach them how to raise capital and you teach them how to be able to access capital they didn't know how to reach by just using financial literacy and actually educating them on how to be able to access like 0% interest credit to build a business. Yeah, and those are all things that I've been able to help people achieve.
It's very, very clear that you've done so much of this groundwork yourself behind the scenes, just educating yourself. And it's really impressive because how you speak is of someone who's been in this industry, 20 years and you're only 25. So I love hearing that. What is a piece of advice that you would share with someone who's looking to get into either what you're doing now in real estate or looking to get into the yachting industry?
So my biggest piece of advice for real estate is if you haven't purchased your first home, I would, and you want to purchase a home that will you're not having to pay a mortgage on. If you're still renting, stop renting. Okay. Cause you're just paying someone else's mortgage off, right? So purchase your first home. Maybe purchase a duplex, maybe purchase a home that has the opportunity to rent some different rooms out. And if you have, like what I did is I rented rooms out to yacht crew because I knew that those were people that I could live in the same house with and feel good with. They're clean, they're good people. They're, always like excited about life, have a zest for life. They're not going to be weirdos.
Yeah.
I would recommend doing your first property. If you're in the US, you can qualify for your first time home buyer's loan. It's only 3% down, which is so minimal. So, put some money away to do that 3% down for your first property. You only have to live in the property for a year and then you can turn it into a rental, like a full house Airbnb or something like that. Or if you wanted to rent it out on a 12-month annual. So I would recommend getting your first home. Like, don't hold back. Just, take the plunge, go for it. 5 years from now, you're going to be happy you did it because that property is going to appreciate so much. I look back at
especially
my Fort
in
Lauderdale
South Florida.
house. Oh my gosh. I look back at that Fort Lauderdale house. I bought it for $420,000. It's like over 700 now.
Yeah, that's a steal.
It's incredible. If I didn't do it then, I would be buying it at 720 now, which I'm doing for my current properties, but I know what it's going to be in the future 5 years from now, right? And I always invest in developing areas. So areas that are putting literally billions of dollars of development around that parameter.
Because the value is going to appreciate rapidly.
It's going to appreciate so rapidly. In the area I invest in now, they're putting a design district, which is a $2 billion investment, thing that they're doing and developing. They're putting in a marina district. They're doing a full park redevelopment. So there's 3 areas that just within half a mile of the properties that I buy, they're all literally booming with that development. And you can see it happening so much. Like, people love coming to this area.
I live near Midtown Miami, and that's an area that you've seen
Midtown
bloom in development in the past 5 years. I mean, having been here since 2018, I've really seen things take off, especially post-pandemic, because of the influx of so many people moving here. I mean, downtown is another area that they're really developing here. The Downtown Development Agency or association, whichever they might be. That's a new body that didn't exist 3 years ago that now is in charge of developing businesses and providing business grants. They will give you incentive to put your business headquarters in downtown Miami as of right now. For anyone who didn't know that, that's a huge incentive. For someone like me with my startup, it was something I was thinking about, but because I don't really need a physical space, it was more of a cost-benefit analysis. But for someone who is selling a physical product or opening a cafe or a restaurant or a small customer-focusing business, that is such a huge asset for anyone right now in downtown Miami.
That is incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
I love
so that's something I didn't know about until a few months ago. And they're really, really pushing development of the area. They just opened Miami World Center, which is the new, shopping and restaurant complex, has an Apple store there, has a museum of ice cream, bunch of things. So it's a lot of development happening all across South Florida. So a lot of new pockets to invest in.
Yes, there is these great pockets. And if you can be smart with that investment and, hold on to it, like I said, 5-10 years, you're going to be so grateful you did. It's going to change the whole trajectory of your family's life, generation after generation, building that legacy for your family. And then you said in the yachting career. So yachting was the best thing I could have ever done. I am so grateful that I did it at such a young age. And I got to travel to places that I would literally never go to if I weren't working on a yacht. I got to go to Fiji, French Polynesia. I got to go to the Galapagos Islands, places that you would never go to. And I'm so grateful I did it before becoming a mother, right? And it was just such an amazing step right out of high school, right out of college,
that's incredible.
Still trying to get your feet, still trying to feel where you want to bring your career. Doing that, it literally changed the whole trajectory of my life. And it taught me skills that I wouldn't have learned anywhere else. And really, when you're living, you're working, and you're, hanging out with the same people all together, it teaches you really how to be a people person and how to be able to adapt with all different cultures, backgrounds, and be able to, when you're in a leadership position, lead all different cultures and backgrounds. And that's a skill that you can be able to apply to any job.
Wow. Thank you so much for your time, Nicole. This has been such a pleasure. You are such an inspiration. I would love to follow along more with you, with your businesses. Could you please share where everyone can find you on social media or your website?
Of course, Jasmine. So my personal social media, which has both of my business handles, is at the Double Dutch. And that's for me and my daughter because we're both Dutch.
Oh, that's so cute. I love it.
And then you can find both of my business handles on there, yachtstandardcleaning.com and naughtydutchrentals.com. And would love to host you at one of our amazing places.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nicole, again for your time. Once again, everyone, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Jasmine Ortiz Show. I will see you next time.
Thank you.